Yo, what's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here, and we are live with episode 63 of the Shackcast. We have a lot to talk about today. I'm very excited to be joining you. So a couple of things that we're going to cover today is some reactions to PlayStation's State of Play. Assassin's Creed Shadows has some news there. Destiny 2. Codename Frontiers, Undefeated Genesis has some footage at Tokyo Game Show. The Forever Winner has launched in early access. Star Wars Outlaws has some updates. And before we get started, I'm going to talk just a little bit about a game that I've been sent some codes to cover. And I will actually have a video on this game out tomorrow morning at like 7 a.m. Central Time. So it'd be like 8 a.m. Eastern, I believe, is when the embargo ends. But this is 63 days, and it's kind of a real-time strategy kind of game. It's co-op, and you get to play as like this band of like Polish, I don't know, like resistance force against the Nazis. So a lot of the gameplay does kind of revolve around like stealth and guerrilla tactics and stuff. So I'm gonna do like a little bit of like first impressions coverage that you'll see as that video pops up tomorrow. And then I believe maybe sometime tomorrow night, me and Texas Wolverines are gonna log on and play this game because it is a little bit of two-player co-op. So we might be able to check that out tomorrow night. Okay, so. Look forward to some impressions on that. It looks really cool, and it does have controller support, which I thought was very interesting. So we'll definitely cover that. There is a demo available, but yeah, I will have some thoughts and impressions on that very soon. Pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, so next thing I have is that Star Wars Outlaws has issued a statement from their team. It says, as we see here, Outlaws, you've been roaming the Outer Rim for almost a month now, and we want to thank you again for your support. Your feedback is invaluable in helping us prioritize the improvements and changes we will make to the game. We're hard at work creating multiple title updates, which will bring optimization, gameplay polishing, and tweaks, as well as quality of life changes, including adjustments to combat and stealth gameplay, which is something that we've talked about in previous episodes of the show. Is that, you know, we sat down and watched two of the creative directors and narrative director. They sat down and talked about how some of the stealth gameplay was a little too trying for people, and they thought they could tweak some of the story implications around that as well. They said that's not all. A first story pack, Star Wars Outlaws Wildcard, will launch November 21st, and we'll see Kay and Nix infiltrate a high-stakes sabacc tournament where they will face off against the legendary Lando Calrissian. In addition, new contracts will be added free for all players. And contracts are really cool. They're just average little jobs and heists and various things that you can do within the game. So that's actually really cool that they're going to add more stuff to make the game have a little more variety. For PC players, we're thrilled to announce that the game will be available on Steam starting November 21st. Now, keep this in mind because this is a running thing that we're going to talk about on the show today, but there is no mistake that they are moving. Ubisoft is moving a lot of games to Steam, and that they want those games there day one, okay? So make note, Star Wars Outlaws coming to Steam November 21st. We'll need to remember that here in a few minutes. Thank you for being part of the journey, and stay tuned for more updates soon. The Star Wars Outlaws team. My thoughts on this are as follows. I mean, I think the game is good. It's not like great. It's not amazing. It's just a good game. Like, it's a decent game. Yeah, I think some of the stealth is a little wonky, but I genuinely think that like the story and, you know, the reputation system is really interesting, and the way that you can play gangs against each other. I think in that sense the game is much better than people seem to make it appear. So what what that ties into now is Ubisoft's announcement for Assassin's Creed Shadows, which they dropped today. So Assassin's Creed Shadows will now release on February 14th, 2025, okay? So one of the big deals here, and I'm just going to hit it right off the bat here, is that this game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam, at launch. So what has Ubisoft been doing recently? They've been putting their games directly to Ubisoft Connect, and we've had to purchase them over there. Now, what's the difference, really? Well, there is a very small difference, not much of a difference. Because if you are playing on PC, you buy a game on Steam, what do you end up doing? Sure, you download it and manage it through Steam, you update it, you have Steam achievements, you have all these things, right? But when you launch the game, what does it do? It opens up the Ubisoft Connect launcher anyway, just like any other game does. So it makes sense. It makes sense. But yeah, here's what they have to say. I'll read the whole statement in total. Dear players, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us, finally bringing the series to feudal Japan with many features developed with our community in mind, such as parkour or the renewed stealth brought by new technology, all set in a beautiful and immersive world. Now that all sounds really good. I think that sounds great. They need to bring the focus back onto parkour and roaming, cities and tall buildings and tight alleyways and stuff like that. And then, of course, yes, the assassin in Assassin's Creed is about being stealthy. It's about being an assassin. It's not about being Spartan Warrior Simulator, Sheriff of Egypt Simulator, Viking Warrior Simulator, Greek God Simulator, whatever you want to call it. We need to get things back to what made Assassin's Creed great. And let's face it, Assassin's Creed probably hasn't been great in over 10 years. I would have to go back to like Unity as the last game I really, really enjoyed. And a lot of people would go even further back and say that 4 or the Ezio trilogy would be their favorites. Yeah, I'm already seeing people laughing in chat. So I mean that's just the way it is. People have not resonated with the looter shooter and the Dark Souls style combat. Kind of the overhaul. So what do we have here? We got this is an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of 2 unique protagonists, but we realized we need more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. So as such, we made the decision to postpone the release date to February 14, 2025. The game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam, at launch. So once again, it's a big deal, but how consequential is it? Because you do end up loading up the game through Ubisoft Connect and linking it to your Ubisoft account and doing all that mumbo jumbo. So it's great. I will say it is great to download all your games on Steam. I know we all love Steam, so that is good. But in essence, it changes very little. Okay, so Steam at launch. Additionally, pre-orders will be refunded and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free. So that's pretty cool. They're like, hey, we're sorry it's taken a long time. We're just going to say, hey, if you pre-order it now or in the next couple of months, before release, you'll be able to get that first expansion for free. That sounds cool to me, because honestly, I never look forward to having to pay for like DLC for certain single-player games, unless it's just really good and I'm really into it. Sometimes it's just them trying to figure out like how can we monetize them again, Like they're not satisfied with the fact that we bought a $70 game, or if you buy the collector's edition and you spend several $100s. So we understand the decision will come as disappointing news, especially to those who've been waiting patiently for an Assassin's Creed game inspired by feudal Japan. And believe it, that we've been waiting a long time. Like Assassin's Creed 3 had technology like the rope dart that was hinting to, Asian influences, assassins in China, assassins in Japan, and we got to utilize some of their technology in that game. And for a long time, people have said, oh man, I can't wait for the series to go to Egypt. I can't wait for the series to go to Japan. These have been requests that have been going since the beginning of Assassin's Creed, because we always theorized, like, okay, where are they going to go next, So, okay. But we sincerely believe this is in the best interest of the game and ultimately your experience as a player. So I think that's a 2 thumbs up right there. I think that's the best kind of statement that you would want to get. I know we get these kind of statements all the time where it's a PNG and a wall of text and, Cyberpunk or whoever it is issuing apologies about delays or performance issues. We've seen this for years and years, that we start to fear anytime a developer drops a PNG image with a wall of text on it. But honestly, this is best case scenario. So rest assured, we're looking forward to the moment where you will embark on a memorable adventure with Naoe and Yasuke. Until then, we thank you for your ongoing support. Mark Alexis Cote on behalf of all teams working on Assassin's Creed Shadows. So what do you guys think? What do you think of all that? I mean, for me, it's really like I want the game to be the best it can be. I think Mirage was a step in the right direction, but because it was tied to last gen's hardware, we are sort of like, it feels like we're like lagging behind. It didn't feel like, graphically and performance-wise, it just didn't feel like, because Assassin's Creeds used to do that. That used to be what the games did, was like every time a new Assassin's Creed came out, it was a huge leap for like technology. It was like sprawling massive worlds, large crowds of humans walking around, big fights that you could get into, massive open world areas, sophisticated AI and, really deep immersion in a historical context, So, I mean, it used to be all these great things. Let me actually check something here, because I could be wrong. Okay, Assassin's Creed Shadows is fully next-gen. So they are leaving behind the PS4 and the Xbox One. And see, that's the difference. That's the difference I think Mirage needed to make. Because I kept wondering while I was playing it. I was playing it on PC, and I was like, why does this game kind of run like it felt like I was playing an Xbox One game. Like it didn't, I was disappointed. I was like, I spent all this money to like buy this game on PC thinking I'm going to get like the best performance out of my rig, and it's like, it's not good. So I wanted it to be better. I think the game is as good as it's going to get. They're looking for a sympathy purchase because they moved it to February. Oh no, not the tie-in to Black History Month. It could go that way. I don't know if Ubisoft is that nefarious though. I don't think they're like, this'll get the African Americans to buy our game. I don't know if that's the big concern. They need mass appeal on this. They need mass appeal, and I mean, you do have a lot of competition in the zone, and I think they're realizing that, right? You've got Ghost of Tsushima. You've got the recently announced Ghost of Yotei. You've got Neo 2. You've got Wolong Fallen Dynasty. You've got Rise of the Ronin. You've got games that are on the way. Phantom Blade Zero, As Winds Meet. I mean, it's just a pile of like samurai and ninja games that are either out or on the horizon, and each one is doing something better than Assassin's Creed has done in 10 years. And I would argue that Ubisoft as a company as a whole has done in 10 years. I mean, if we look back, like some of the last good games that they did, Splinter Cell Blacklist, not my favorite, but like that's the last Splinter Cell game. That's the last time they innovated in that space. And if we go back to that time period as well, it's like, okay, we go back 10 years. Assassin's Creed Unity was the last time they had amazing graphics and incredible parkour that was fast and simple and intuitive. I I mean, the Division was really great, but once again, they kind of not really capitalized on that, so I wish they could have done better on that. I know the Splinter Cell remake is in the works, but I mean, it's been like two or 3 years since we've heard anything on the Splinter Cell remake. I think it's been a long time. And it's supposed to be a remake of the first game. But they're gonna make like some changes. Yeah, Division, like, dude, if they kept up with that, there would be no need for like Division sequels. Like, it's like Destiny. They could have just been like, hey, here's a new city, here's a new location, here's a new story, here's a new raid, like whatever you gotta do. Let's see, 2025. Yeah, I think it's at least been a year or two, maybe. Built from the ground up using Ubisoft's own Snowdrop engine, which, I mean, promising. Pretty cool. Well, I don't know. Do we know what games are coming out in February? I mean, I don't have a lot on my schedule. Like, I think if anything, they're moving out. They're moving out of a more controversial zone where they're flanked by like Call of Duty this fall and a bunch of other games. Yeah, I mean, really, that's all I see in November. And I got nothing in February. I actually have nothing. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster, that's in March. Like, I don't have anything in January or February yet on the game calendar here, so I don't know. The new Battlefield. I don't think they've given us a date on that. But that is exciting too. That's promising. But yeah, you wouldn't want to drop anywhere near Call of Duty because I think everyone's kind of sleeping over that one. All right, so we're gonna get into the state of play. I'm not gonna do like a whole reaction to the entire show. But I do want to like skim through some of the stuff here with you. Yeah, no ETA on the PS5 Pro either, which I don't really recommend. I don't really recommend getting it. I would say I would wait and save that money and buy a PC. Play the games at an even better quality for around the same amount of money or more, you know? I would say save up the money. Because, I mean, just a couple $100 more, you buy a keyboard and a mouse and, a screen if you need it. And just, the graphics card will be the most expensive bit of it. So yeah, some of the big things that I wanted to highlight this game. Hang on. This game looks really cool. I think I've highlighted the correct one. Yeah. Hell is Us. This one looks really cool. Like this was the game that caught my attention. Like immediately. I was like, "Oh, this is weird. This is interesting. It's got like some interesting combat. There's kind of an interesting story happening here." I don't even know like what kind of vibes it gives me. 'Cause you don't want to just throw things around like, "Oh, it's like Death Stranding meets Elden Ring or something." It's something different. It definitely has like the futuristic tech and maybe some of the weirdness of a Kojima game, and it kind of has like the visual flair of and maybe the combat of like a Souls-like game, but we're also seeing a lot of action games kind of weave into the Souls formula. So, I don't know. It looks really interesting. So yeah, let's keep recapping a couple moments, and if there's anything I missed that you guys want to go back and check out, Metro Awakening on VR. Yeah, I mean this Archmage game looks kind of interesting, but I just feel like I'm bogged down with like so many 720. No wonder it looks so grainy. I'm just like bogged down by like so many games lately, and when it comes to like fantasy games, like I already got Black Myth Wukong, I got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I got Dragon's Dogma 2, which got a recent patch for performance and stuff. I mean, this game looks cool. Dragon Age: The Veilguard is coming out this fall as well. I mean, this looks cool, and Crimson Desert looks really cool as well. I don't know. Unless this is like co-op, I mean, maybe that could be really fun. But I mean, it's like we already have like so much to do just on Elden Ring alone between myself and J-Star and TX Wolverines. It's like, do we really need like a lot more games at this moment? It looks cool. It looks really cool. So Arcade Chronicles, I thought that one looked really interesting. Pow World, this is risky because they're getting sued by Nintendo, and if PlayStation could be allowing them to just be on the show here as a third party, but if there's like a deeper collaboration here where PlayStation's like funding them, that could be a little crazy. And they are being sued not for copyright infringement, not because the pals look like Pokemon. It is specifically elements of gameplay, and a lot of people are suspecting it might be the Pokeball mechanic that they've poached from the Pokemon games. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll just see how it all plays out. The other thing, we gotta look at the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Oh wait, hang on. One thing that's like this actually might be my favorite thing in the show here. 2 new updates here. The Radical Reptiles DLC. I thought we were done with Shredder's Revenge. I honestly thought we were done. And I'm satisfied. It's a great game. It's awesome. It's one of the best beat-em-up side-scrollers out there, especially when it comes to Turtles. I'd love to see them do like a Marvel or a DC game next. But yeah, seeing them add new characters is dope. Okay, so we gotta look at this, right? Because I covered Sonic Frontiers on the channel, and there's elements of it that I liked, but I don't know, this Shadow game is like, just look at I can't believe they showed us gameplay. You know what I mean? Look at this. Dude is Super Saiyan flying. He's got no time for running. He's just flying through the town. I already see that the level design is like on point, and this is kind of what we've wanted from a Sonic game. I don't necessarily think we want like open worlds and stuff like that. It's more like, give us like 3D Sonic, but make it good. Make the level design interesting. Make the gameplay special. Let's go back and just look at like briefly. I mean, just the level design, take us to interesting places. It was kind of boring that Sonic Frontiers had us in these like empty planets, like we were walking around like it was Death Stranding, but we were playing as Sonic, So once again, I still want to finish Frontiers. I still feel like there's some sauce there, but I don't think anyone wanted Sonic to borrow the puzzle mechanics that like Breath of the Wild had. Like that's kind of a weird direction to take the Sonic series. So let's try that. So this game actually, there's one thing about this game that looks really interesting, and I think they talk about it here. This is Fantasian Neo Dimension. It's handmade diorama backgrounds. Look at that. So that's real. These are real backgrounds. That's pretty cool. Even if that's not my kind of game, like the fact that they've made these backgrounds out of things, they've created art here in that sense. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I saw. So the thing about Ubisoft, and I talked about this earlier in the show when we talked about Assassin's Creed and Star Wars Outlaws, but Ubisoft is doing day one releases on Steam, and Star Wars Outlaws will come to Steam November 21st. But it doesn't change a lot. I mean, all it does is like you own it on Steam, you download it through Steam, but guess what happens when you click launch game? It takes you to Ubisoft Connect. So just like every other game does, they're gonna make you download the launcher and have to launch through their launcher and log into your Ubisoft Connect account. I have to say, I used to be a big fan of Dragon Age, and there's just something here like visually and narratively it's just not here on this one. Everybody looks plastic, like a bunch of Fortnite characters. I think the characters and the designs and even the color scheme, and even if we look at like some of the enemy designs, like they're kind of like campy and weird, and like, you know, Dragon Age had like some fearsome looking enemies in the first two games at least. So I mean, the series is really, I don't know, just gone a different direction. Once again, I'm gonna play the same card. I already got Black Myth Wukong, Stellar Blade, you know, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Dragon's Dogma 2. I mean, I got fantasy games for days. You know, even Final Fantasy 16, I'd love to go back and hit that for a minute. So yeah, that's October 31st. All right, so this next one, I'm kind of trying to temper my expectations. You guys know I'm a real big Alan Wake fan, and Alan Wake 2 was dope. That was like my game of the year last year. I don't know, something about the way they've been doing the DLC has been pretty lackluster. So I just feel like the DLCs were like run and gun shooting simulators, like the element of fear and like ammo conservation and preserving, you know, flashlight batteries and stuff like that. It's just all out the window, man. But the way this video looks, it does look like they're going back to basics and like, hey, this expansion might actually be about like, you know, horror elements, and maybe there will be limits on ammo and batteries so that you can't just run around with basically infinite ammo. So, but that's coming October, so I'm excited to check that out. But once again, just gonna temper expectations on that one, because I think it's been a little rocky for that game's DLC, and it's very unusual, because I think the folks at Remedy are doing really cool stuff, but something here is just not right. Seeing Hitman 3 with the whole entire World of Assassination trilogy going to VR, and nevertheless, it actually looks like a really good VR game. I think if I had VR, this I would probably be doing nothing but playing this. I think more than any other game, I think this would be the one. Because I think we just have a lot of silly moments and just immersing yourself in this. But I don't have the means to like stream VR, and my whole rig can barely handle what I'm doing lately. But I mean, yeah, just like holding the gun around the corner like that. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know. December. This one's a big one too. Yeah, the next one. We got any fans of Legacy of Kain in the chat? Ever since Crystal Dynamics did the Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remaster of the first 3 games in the trilogy, a lot of people were saying like, "Hey, well, what about Legacy of Kain? Would you guys remaster that?" And you know, sure enough, less than a year, we're already seeing that revealed. So. Yeah, just kind of showing you the difference between the two games. So definitely a throwback for fans of that, and definitely welcome news. Cleaned up some stuff, you know. Maybe some quality of life stuff added in there as well. But yeah, let me skip to the end here. Yeah, December 10th. And once again, even though we're looking at a Sony conference here, a lot of these games are coming to Xbox as well. So I would just say maybe check Xbox's, check their Twitter. So Dynasty Warriors Dungeons, or Origins, sorry, looks really cool. Monster Hunter Worlds is there. The Horizon thing, I think this is so unnecessary. Remastering Zero Dawn. Does it look great? Sure. Did it look great already? Absolutely. The fact that if you already own the game, it's just a $10 upgrade, that seems fine, but I honestly have no desire to play these games. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was pretty good, but started to kind of slog after a while. Towards the end, it was just like, I just feel really repetitive and grindy, and I don't know. So once again, October 31st. So I mean, really, it's like October's going to be the big hit month until Call of Duty hits, you know? This I'm actually excited for. Photo mode and the full soundtrack to Stellar Blade will be available. Did they actually say the photo mode is already out? I don't remember. Yeah, Stellar Blade's dope. I want to get back on this. I just have a lot of games that we're playing, and I was having a good time. But yeah, already the photo mode looks really good. I'm gonna actually put captions on. Oh, never mind. Right, captions. Okay, so that's available on select streaming services today. Yeah, which I gotta say, the soundtrack's really good. It's not, Korean pop is not really my jam, but like, man, some of it's bangers. And then also this collaboration here with Nier Automata is that's pretty cool, because it turns out that those two games seem to share a lot of things in common. So I think that's a collab that's definitely. So that's coming later. So yeah, I think that looks cool. Yeah, for Horizon, it's really weird. It's really weird that they're doing that in such a short amount of time. And Naughty Dog's been doing the same thing. It hasn't even been like 10 years on some of their games. It'll be like 2 or 3 years, and they'll be like, let's remaster it. I'm like, what do you mean? PlayStation Plus games, I do have to say, Doki Doki Literature Club is a banger, and the Dead Space remake, dude. That's all you gotta do is be signed up for PlayStation Plus to play online, and you get the Dead Space remake. Yeah, incredible value right there. The next thing, which I don't know, I think I'm just a PlayStation Plus member. I'm not a. Yeah, you have to be a premium member. So Dino Crisis and oh my god, it literally tabbed away from it so fast. Blood Omen Legacy of Kain and Dino Crisis. Those are two good ones. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna make some videos of Dino Crisis running on the PS3, PS1 disc on the PS3. I think that's how I want to play it. Unless there's like a meaningful change, or if I can purchase the game separately, I would do that. Yeah. Last of Us Part 1 is coming to the PlayStation Plus game catalog. That's a win. That's September 26th, which is tomorrow. So that's a win on their part right there. Yeah, Mark Cerny, which, I mean, we could look at what he shows here. Just all these games that are PS5 Pro enhanced. I mean, for most of them, I would just say wait for PC. You'll get to play it at this fidelity or even better. Except for Demon Souls. They haven't put Demon Souls on PC yet. But I mean, a lot of these games, I don't know. it's just a marginal increase in performance and graphical fidelity. It's just not worth that money. And they're saying that the gray 30th anniversary PS5 Pros, those are going to be over $1,000. So if you thought $700 was expensive without a stand and without a disk drive, that's crazy. Vertical stands sold separately. Oof. Not good. All right, this is the big one. What did you guys think about this? I knew from pretty much the moment I saw this, I was like, this is the Ghost of Tsushima sequel. So Ghost of Yotei, Jin Sakai's story is over. It's, I think like 300 years later now. We got some new biomes to roam. New colorful places. We're going to get up into the snowy mountains and stuff. We're going to a whole different region of Japan. I just hope it's... I hope it's like a big leap from the first game. I was really disappointed in the first game, like graphics and performance-wise. It didn't live up to the early trailers shown at the game. But I was genuinely enjoying the game, but some of the things about it were like jank, especially the platforming made it feel like a game from like 2006. And also, I kind of knew, I saw these silhouettes and, views of the character, and I was like, that's a woman. That's a woman right there. And I was like, I don't know how everyone's going to react, but I feel like people are getting a little crazy about this game. Are you guys being crazy? Do we have any wild bros in the chat that are losing their minds over a female protagonist? I mean, this looks gorgeous. I'm hoping this is taking full advantage of the PS5. Do we know? Is this PS5 only? She got the shamisen. So, this is another, like, historical thing, is that a lot of the female samurais would pose as musicians, and they would rock a shamisen, and they would carry it around and play it. That way you would just think, oh, she's just a musician, she's not gonna hurt anyone. Just catch you off guard, But yeah, once again, it's like, look, let's just go back a little bit. I mean, just look at some of the color direction, right? Color, the art direction, the choices that they've made. I mean, obviously you saw a lot of this in the first game. And honestly, it looks like the environments, especially the indoor ones, which didn't have a lot of detail. I'm hoping they're making the game more immersive and more detailed. Well, they can't call it Ghost of Tsushima 2 because they're not going to stick to the same place. Like, it's like if GTA made every game in Liberty City. It's just like, well, it's just not interesting, So I don't know. But yeah, I saw all these silhouettes and I was just like, yeah, that's we're not playing as a guy anymore, which I think is fine. I think it's fine. Yeah, I think Rise of the Ronin is more my style. But this game, this game could come in. This one could come in and be really good. I don't know. I think it looks cool. And especially if we get to play the shamisen a little bit. I mean, that'd be really fun. Maybe you learn some different songs, use the touchpad to like strum. That'd be cool. Yeah, and she's dual wielding too. So yeah, new area, new character, new setting. And 2025, man. That means they've been cooking on this one for a while. So, okay, it does say PS5, so I think that's a PS5 only, gamers. Yeah, because I feel like, man, if you're still, like, clinging to PS4, I'm going to double check before I have to eat my words here. Okay. Yeah, no PS4. No, or, yeah, okay. And it'll probably come to PC later in like a year or so. Yeah, I feel like, if you come out with that game on PS4, it's just gonna like, it's gonna lag behind and be like, ugh. Alright, so the next game I want to show you guys is a little game called Forever Winter, and we're actually gonna watch these. Let's actually listen to what they're talking about. Because this is an early access game that just launched September 24th. It does have mixed reviews, but I think it's some people that are not quite clicking with the water system. You have to like drink water to stay alive.
Here's the deal. These past few months,
so let's check it out.
We've had an outpour of positive reception from you guys around what we're creating, and we really want to get that game out to you sooner. That's why we're diving right into early access on September 24th, 2024. And a heartfelt thank you to everyone who participated in the beta. The team has
it's a third-person PvE co-op extraction shooter.
Can't wait to share the progress. Now, I don't believe anyone should have to pay more than 50 USD for a game. And if you want to support the team above and beyond the initial price point, that is awesome, and we really appreciate it.
So it's called the Forever Winter
soundtrack and Jason's awesome tunes. But that should be your choice, based on how much you guys dig the game. So the Forever Winter is going to be $27 at early access. There will be zero pay-to-win solutions.
Actually, let me go back. Hang on. I wanted to go back and kind of show you.
Dig the game. So the Forever Winter is going to be $27 at early access.
What is with Steam's like UI here? I can't pause the video.
At early access.
So yeah, as you can see here, it's kind of got the you know, your Tarkov, your DMZ, your Delta Force, Hawk Ops, which I think they're just calling it Delta Force from here forward. So it'll be Delta Force Hazard Ops mode is the extraction. So yeah, you'll have all these guns, you'll be managing consumables, your rig, which allows you to carry all this stuff, and you got junk and large items. But yeah, a lot of gamers have been mad that if you're not hydrating your character enough, if you don't get enough water, you actually die. So you lose progress. Like, you lose progress in the community, you lose all your weapons, and you pretty much start over, except you do maintain whatever level your character is. So, like, whatever benefits, I guess, come with leveling up, you maintain those. So it is kind of hardcore in a way. Like, if you're not actually managing the survival mechanic, which, as far as I know, is really the water system is the only one that players are complaining about. Yeah, $27 isn't bad. And it is early access, and of course you can see here that you're able to come in and modify your weapons in the typical style of a game like Escape from Tarkov or Incursion Red River.
Zero pay-to-win solutions. You will earn your
zero pay-to-win. Zero pay-to-win. Let me actually... Yeah, this is not a good video to, like, pause.
Zero
it's like
pay-to-win solutions. You will earn your gear.
Yeah, and of course here, this is showcasing some of the rigs. Appreciate the subscription to the channel. Hope you're enjoying the podcast tonight. Shackcast episode 63. Yeah, so I guess here they're showing like the different rigs where you can carry different types of gear, and I guess it would make you a certain exceeding a certain weight could make you extra clunky. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
It'll be a skill or luck, and you will not be able to buy your way into Nirvana.
No pay to win.
You will never be charged for a new character, because that's the way it should be when you buy a game. You will not be charged for maps, guns, additional quests, new bosses, and more. That nickel and diming shit is for the birds. We will charge for skin
$27.
Bags, and any
that's
sales
it.
There will go to supporting the character team.
That's
and allowing
crazy.
us to make even more baller characters in the future.
Baller.
Now, why do all this? I fondly remember a time growing up in the 90s when you could go to CompUSA and buy a box copy of Command & Conquer, Giant Citizen Kabuto, or
CompUSA.
for $50 or less and be set for months. I'm really hoping we can get back there. Now for the roadmap. We really respect...
Okay, so other thing here is that they're showing like some of the locations and some will be locked, and certain bosses, you know, throughout early access, players will actually vote on whether
what the homies did
which
was
ones come
ready or
out.
not. Having the balls to release gray box maps into their map lineup was incredible. So we're taking a page out of their book. We will give you one work-in-progress map early, so you guys can scope it out, have some fun, and hopefully give the team some super helpful feedback, so we can make them even more kick-ass when they drop fully. Taking it one step further.
So fourth
we want the
quarter,
community
second
to
map.
get a chance to vote on which bosses and which features we bring online first in our post-launch plan. Anyone who bought the game will get access to an exclusive channel in our Discord. There, you will be able to vote on what or who drops next. The art team and our brothers at Evolve 512 broke our backs to make sure we planned months in advance to give you guys the post-apocalyptic road trip you deserve. And if the game does well, shit. We want to bring this art style to entirely new environments in the future. It's going to be a wild ride.
Pretty cool.
Now let's talk hosting. Regardless of how many people play, you will always be able to play with your friends locally and via peer-to-peer hosting. We learned from the nightmares some of our industry colleagues have gone through this past year. So that means no infinite loop matchmaking bugs, and no flooded servers where you can't jump into what you just bought. We did this so that no matter what happens, when you buy our game, you can jump in and rock and roll, even if it's solo. If
There
you
you
want
go.
to reach out to the dev team, hit up the Discord. There's a ton of homies in there that love Grimdark just as much as we do.
It's kind of
Now
a
on a
weird
more
game.
somber
Like
note,
it's creepy.
past few months, we lost Spec Ops The Line, Project Boundary, and now they are shutting down the Battlefield 3 servers. The reality is, in the never-ending quest for profit, they are closing the gate on some really special games that inspired us.
It's for real.
Games cost more now to develop than they ever have, and that means risk mitigation is priority 1, 2, and 3. And remember, it's not their fault. They're a product of their environment. And that's why this year has been so inspiring, to see other crews breaking out of that muck to bring the magic, one ammo belt at a time. Lastly, words cannot express how much we appreciate your support.
Okay,
People
we're
from
almost
all
done.
nations and all ages have reached out, just to say, thanks for going there and handling the subject with the care and energy it deserves. This means we're not alone in hoping we see a new Killzone, a gritty Battlefield, maybe a new Command & Conquer title that's not a bloody mobile game. But if the response
Yeah,
to what we're
dude.
building is any indicator,
Freaking mobile
maybe they will
games,
find
man.
the guts to bring those games back the right way. And in the meantime, we'll see you guys in the Wasteland on September 24th, 2024. Cheers.
Yeah, I gotta say, gamers,
Target.
that studio, they've really got their head on straight. I think a lot of the things they talk about, like no monetization, you know, once you own the game, you own it, $27. Like, we're not trying to nickel and dime you. We're also not trying to like gut punch you with like a $70 game that's like broken, doesn't even work. But I mean, once again, you do have to understand that Steam Early Access comes with a lot of things, so I would read all this before you purchase. Maybe check out some of the reviews, but I mean, so far, all the haters seem to be mostly mad at like mechanics in the game, or mad that like it's an early access game and that it's not like a flawless experience.
War, famine, destruction, death.
So there is another like 5-minute video here, and I'll just kind of like,
sci-fi tactical.
okay, I guess I can't skim. Yeah, they don't let you skim through it.
Everyone alive. No one gets.
But yeah,
by
it
in
is
this world all
PvE
alone.
only.
So don't be afraid to help others when you can.
Oh yeah, and I forgot about this. It does have that. It does have this donation station which is like once you get set and you have like good loot, you can like hand it down to other players, you know, if you're like, I don't need this gun anymore or whatever, you can like hand it down to other players so that they can have like an easier start. So I mean, that's kind of cool. It's like a way of like helping the newbies get into the game.
Traverse rough terrain and reach hard to get drops. Turrets allow you to shred, at least for a short time. And scanners allow you to scout ahead to plan your route. You want guns? You've got them. Modify and upgrade your firearms for the jobs you take.
Modifications, upgrades.
Always remember, the more gear and ammo you bring in,
I gotta say, the people that they're talking about, like...
collecting debts, and good old-fashioned MDKs.
Honestly, more than anything, it reminds me of like Terminator's like post-apocalypse future. It's as they said, it's very grim dark.
No matter how easy you think the job is, don't get complacent. Things can change at the drop of a hat.
Because it's like, it's machines that are like harvesting organs to like rebuild armies to fight like an infinite war that's happening. So it's like the robots are engineered to keep the war going, and we're just kind of like stuck in the middle of it, and you know, we're the fodder essentially. So it's scary. It's survival. It's really interesting thing.
Exceed your fire team's capabilities. Take note of their weaknesses and plan your strategy to take them down. Even fully geared, it will require coordination, teamwork, and a bit of luck. There are only three types of
teamwork, and luck.
The fast, the smart, and the dead. So don't be ashamed to retreat if the fighting gets too hot. Remember, there are no heroes here. Just a few men and women running around in the dark with half-empty magazines. Forever.
I gotta say, you should definitely go watch this one. The way that they narrate their videos and some of the gameplay that they've shown looks really great. So this is probably more of a game to like watch over time, but if you are interested in the early access of this title, definitely check it out. Single player, online co-op, and of course it looks like it has controller support, which I'm kind of surprised by. The next thing I want to do is check out Undefeated Genesis here. We're just going to briefly like check out a little bit of the Tokyo Game Show demo, so Undefeated, it's actually on PlayStation 5 and PC. And it's essentially, it's kind of a Superman game, but it also has a lot of mechanics that might be more reminiscent of a Dragon Ball Z type of game. But I will say the devs have spoken very clearly, and a lot of their inspirations were indeed Superman and Dragon Ball Z. So you can find Undefeated. It is available on PlayStation 5, and it's also on Steam. But this is the sequel to Undefeated, and this is Undefeated Genesis. So this will probably, I believe this game's coming out like sometime next year. So yeah, you can do like, you know, it's got the fighting, but it's also got like, I guess you're like blasting some type of energy, and you get all sorts of like Superman powers and stuff. You know, you get the laser eyes. There's lightning attacks. You can fly. You can run really fast. You know. But yeah, this one's a little bit different than Undefeated. But Genesis will be, you know, it seems like it's got more of a story to it. Yeah, and you go talk to people, you get missions. I mean, this demo's kind of bland. It's just kind of showing you like bare bones, like how does the game play, you know, like what's it like to fly around. But the biggest thing for me is that it shows that a Superman game is entirely possible with today's technology. And if an indie studio is doing this, and originally Undefeated started as like a class project, like it was just kind of like, hey, let's see if we can do this. And then, you know, it all of a sudden, you know, became this thing that the internet's been talking about for years. Yeah, you got cool little finishers too. Yeah, and then it looks like you pick up like energy or loot, components, grass, analyte crystals, stone. Yeah, and you can also like fly through buildings. Like you can destroy buildings and fly through them. But you notice he's like clipping through the walls, so you know it's kind of imperfect, you know, but it still proves that like the tech is there and that things are possible, and it's, you know, obviously it's showing some destruction here. Yeah, some of it could work. Oh yeah, and it's also showing how you can like rescue civilians and stuff, which, you know, once again would be like, yeah, there's your laser eyes. Would once again be like really key for like a Superman game. And then also just kind of showing like, you know, how you would manage fighting monsters and rescuing civilians, getting them to like an ambulance or a hospital or something like that. You know, it kind of reminds me of Superman Returns, but it's got like more visual flair and, you know, better performance and stuff like that. So I mean, they definitely got something here that they're cooking, but I mean, you definitely gotta understand that this is an indie game, and that essentially Undefeated, which is on PS5 and PC, it's essentially kind of a tech demo. It's really kind of like a proof of concept where you get to kind of mess around, fight bad guys, save civilians, you know, test your powers, destroy the city a little bit, and just kind of have fun. Whereas Undefeated Genesis here, you know, it looks like it's going to have a little more of maybe some progression in the story and, you know, different enemies to fight and things to upgrade. Yeah, it just looks really fun, as long as performance is halfway decent. And I think it just kind of takes us back to a time where it was like, okay, when was there last like a time where games were just like fun? It wasn't even necessarily all about like quality. Sometimes it was just like, oh, you get to do that in that game? That's really fun. That's really cool. And maybe that's what this taps into more than anything. So I have to say, check out the full Tokyo Game Show showcase here. But, you know, just kind of showing him fight a couple of different monsters and do some finishers and rescue some civilians. Yeah, could be interesting. That one's pretty cool. Last thing I believe that I have is some stuff on Destiny 2 and its new Codename Frontiers. I think there's just a couple of things here. They wanted to present that they have a problem here. Is that playing the same player versus everyone activity repeatedly can feel like a chore when chasing a reward or following a narrative. Running through the latest exotic mission the second, third, and fourth time just doesn't feel fun enough to justify the time spent, and I have to agree. Eventually you know when each enemy spawns, where to fight them, how to win without any challenge. I mean, at this point, people have the strikes and the nightfalls and all the various things memorized, where it's like as soon as that enemy pops up, like somebody's already headshotting them. And it makes the game very not fun, especially if you're like a new player and you end up running some strikes with some veterans that are just trying to like speed run their way through it. I haven't heard anything about Bandai Namco. Yeah, I don't know about that. If you have a link or any more specifics, we could look into it. But I haven't heard anything about that. So yeah. They're saying that they want to keep activities fresh and challenging. And they want to add variety and unpredictability. And some of the class modifiers that they're going to add are Banes. And if we look at this video right here. So this is a Meteor and Shock Bane. So he's going to lob meteors. Shock builds up into a charge that will discharge on a single target with line of sight. So you'll see right here it shocks him. Boom. And it could do like a shockwave to like some enemies. The Berserk Bane. And it basically just makes enemies enrage. It'll just be kind of a random thing. And you see that they're all kind of like smoky purple. So yeah, they'll all enrage and kind of rush you. The next one they have here, immune to all range damage and damage from status effects until they're hit with a melee attack. So I mean, basically they want you to like mix up your gameplay and not just hang in the back with a sniper or use like OP exotics to like easily mow down enemies. You know, they want to make sure that things are interesting and challenging and that, you know, your build has some sort of variety to it. Nuclear Bane. Once a unit with Nuclear Bane reaches low health, it begins an arming sequence. If the unit is not defeated before the sequence completes, it explodes in a massive fiery shockwave. So I think this might be a team wipe. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, you would just want to be careful if you shoot that. Okay, I think we're good. The next thing was they have another post, and I have links in the description down below to this. Raids and dungeons are also getting some stuff here. So they said every year we'll kick off with a brand new raid as part of the first expansion. The following major update will then expand on this raid, adding new challenge, twists, and rewards. The second expansion each year will deliver a new dungeon with an expanded reward offering. The fourth and final major update of the year will launch an event that leverages legacy raid and dungeon content along the lines of the Pantheon. So, I don't know, could be interesting. The world's first raise, starting a new raid with Codename Apollo, which we read about in a previous Shackcast episode, where we first talked about Destiny 2 Frontiers. We did a pretty exhaustive read-through of their 5 blogs that day. Raid feeds, raid challenges, new dungeons, Codename Behemoth. Yeah, it all looks pretty cool, and I'll have links in the description down below, but I mean, I think just knowing like when those are coming and if that's, I mean, does that seem good that there's less of them? Or, you know, would it be nicer to have every expansion come with a raid and a dungeon? But then again, that is a lot of work. That does take a lot of time to get something like that out there. So, I don't know. Could be tricky. Let's double check all the notes here. I think we're just about wrapped up. Don't forget I have 1 or 2 more things, and we'll be right back in just a moment. Check out my merch store on Spring. Link is in the description. You'll find apparel, homeware, accessories, pet stuff, and drinkware, all designed around my brand. I'm proud to sport this stuff myself, and I know you will enjoy it as much as I do. Profits from the merch store support the podcast and the YouTube channel. Take a look and see if anything suits you. I have a wide arrangement of colors and sizes, with many designs being rotated in constantly. Listen to the podcast and check in regularly for coupon codes. Thank you for your support. That ad does not play during the ad does not play during the shorts feed stream. For some reason, it doesn't show the video, so I gotta fix that. But once again, it is a viewer-supported program. So your memberships, your merch store purchases, stuff like that, even sharing and liking videos helps on a certain extent. So once again, that's going to be it for the Shackcast episode 63. But ironically, I do have a game called 63 Days that I'm going to make a video of tonight. And then I will have that out as soon as the embargo is up tomorrow. We'll have some thoughts on that game where we are playing as a Polish resistance force against the Nazis during World War II. It's kind of an RTS, strategy game. So I'll be checking that out tonight, and I'll have that video up in the morning. So take sure Take care, be safe, and we'll see you all on the next one. Bye.